The Independent National Electoral Commission says it is working hard to achieve greater success in this weekend's governorship election in Ondo State, a few weeks after it conducted what has been publicly described as a remarkably free, fair, and credible election in Edo State. There have been logistical challenges in the build-up to the Ondo election, including a suspected case of arson that destroyed more than 5,000 card readers stored in a container in the state capital, Akure. Joining us now from our Abuja studio to have an overview of INEC's preparations for the governorship election in Ondo State is Festus Okoye, INEC National Commissioner and Chairman, Information and Voter Education Committee. Dr. Okoye, good morning. Welcome to the program. Good morning, Dr. Okoye. Yes, welcome to the morning show. Thank you for joining us quickly. How prepared is INEC? Those 15,000 card readers that got burnt, have they been replaced? In terms of logistics, are you prepared? And as the matter about ad hoc staff that some people complained about, has it been resolved?
We are ready. On Monday, all the sensitive materials in terms of the ballot papers and the resources arrive at the central bank in Akure. And this morning, these resources and ballot papers are being distributed to the various local governments since they have been by to the registration areas. Representatives of the political parties, civil society groups and organizations, and the media are right now at the central bank inspecting these materials, and these materials are being distributed. Before this time, all the non-sensitive materials had already been batched and delivered to the various local governments. And the chairman of the Independent National Electoral Commission, in conjunction with other national commissioners, went to Ondo State on readiness assessment, and we visited some of these local governments, and we made sure that all the materials required for the conduct of these elections have already been delivered to these local governments. In terms of the smart card readers, yes, we lost a total of 5,141 smart card readers to an inferno in one of the containers in the INEC premises in Ondo State. But 2 days after that particular inferno, we harvested a total of 5,000 smart card readers from our Oyo State office. And these smart card readers have been purged, they have been configured, and they have been charged. And they are part of the assets that are being distributed to the various local governments as of today. So we don't have challenges with the issue of the smart card readers. We've replaced all of them. All the ad hoc staff have been trained and properly trained, and they are going to be deployed tomorrow to the various registration area centers. So in terms of readiness, in terms of preparation, we have prepared and we have prepared well, and we have also tried to make sure that some of the lacuna we noticed in the Edo governorship election, that we have plugged them. So we expect and we are hopeful that we will conduct a good election in Ondo State.
I mean, I think the last time I spoke to you en route to the Edo State elections, you had a checklist of 9. And we just go through that checklist again and just, reassure the people of Ondo State by saying, okay, check. You say logistics intact. Is that check? Because when you look at the geography of Ondo State, it's inundated with a lot of riverine areas, areas like the Ilaje and the Ijaw-dominated area. What's going to be the logistical protocol around that area? So can we just go through the checklist and look how it looks like now?
Well, in terms of the riverine areas, we have the Ilaje area and the Esodo area, and we have over 270 polling units in these areas. So we have conducted a readiness assessment with the Nigerian Navy and the Marine Police, and they have also deployed some of their platforms and gunships and gunboats to escort our personnel and materials to these particular local governments. And as you are aware, we have six resident electoral commissioner supporting the resident electoral commissioner for Ondo State in relation to this particular election. And we have also deployed additional 3 national commissioners who are taking charge of the senatorial zones in Ondo State. So in relation to the riverine areas, we have done the needful to make sure that we deploy on time. Now, in terms of the smart card readers and some of the glitches we noticed during the Edo governorship election, we have trained additional registration area technical assistants, and we have deployed them. So if the moment we have any glitch in any of the polling units, within a period of 5 minutes or 10 minutes, we are going to intervene, either restore the smart card reader to health or replace the said smart card reader. So that has been taken care of. And now, in relation to the issue of deployment on time, some of the transport owners, we have also had a MOU with them, and we have also implored them, and we are getting them to sleep at the registration area centers so that at the first light, they can move to the polling units together with the ad hoc staff so that the issue of delayed opening of polls will not occur. So we've been taking out on some of these issues and these checklists, and we are confident that we are going to improve on our performance with the Ondo governorship election.
Well, Dr. Okoye, there's been some talk about the use of ZPAD. That came up in the Nasarawa election. And for Edo State, INEC said, well, ZPAD will not be used because of lessons learned from Nasarawa State during the by-elections in 44 polling units in that state. Now for Ondo, what is going to be the situation? Are you going to make use of the ZPAD? And as part of the lessons learned from the election in Ondo, is there any improvement in terms of digital collation of the results?
Well, during the Nasarawa Central State Constituency election, we deployed the ZPAD for two purposes. One, as a secondary authentication solution to the smart card reader. And secondly, to use it for the purposes of uploading the polling unit results into a central portal for public viewing. In terms of using this ZPAD as a secondary authentication solution, we found out that we needed to do more work in relation to that. So we had to withdraw it from its usage because we were not too sure that it was robust enough to perform the function we assigned to it. So we are still working on it, and at the appropriate time, when we are confident that we have found the solution to some of the challenges he had, we may still deploy it. But we deployed it in Edo State for the purposes of uploading polling unit results into a central portal for public viewing. We are also going to deploy it in Ondo State for the same purpose. During the Edo governorship election, over 52,000 Nigerians, non-Nigerians, registered in that particular portal. And we are assuming and we are hopeful that over 100,000 Nigerians will register for the purposes of the Ondo governorship election. So the ZPAD will only be deployed for the purposes of uploading polling unit results into this central portal for public viewing. So there won't be any challenge in relation to that.
Okay. The last time we spoke en route to the Edo elections, you told me about the COVID-19 protocols. But when I saw the elections, I didn't see those protocols being adhered to. Can you, give me that ironclad guarantee that the case will be different in Ondo State?
Well, we are working very hard. We are really working hard to make sure that our people vote and vote in safety. And we made it very, very clear before the Edo governorship election, and we're also making it very clear now that every voter coming to the polling unit must come with a face mask or a face covering. And if you do not have your face mask or face covering, we are not going to allow you to vote. We are also going to deploy infrared thermometers to all the polling units. We have taken delivery of all the ones we used during the Edo governorship election, and we have deployed them for the Ondo governorship election. So we are also going to deploy them. But we also noticed that one of the challenges we had was that in places where you had late deployment, the voters arrived at the polling units and surged on the ad hoc officials, and they couldn't control the crowd. So what we have done is to redesign the polling units and make sure that the ad hoc staff arrive the polling units on time at the first light so that they can organize the polling units in terms of the inner and outer cordon, and also mark out the areas for physical distancing so that when the voters are coming in, they will only join what has already been established. So we are hopeful that the people of Ondo State will assist the commission and comply with the COVID-19 protocols and guidelines. Because this thing is not, all of us must accept both individual and collective responsibility for our health. And we employ the people of Ondo State to cooperate with the security agencies, cooperate with the commission, and also cooperate with all the people that are going to be assigned different responsibilities at the polling units to make sure that we vote and vote in safety.
Well, Dr. Okoye, the Edo gubernatorial election on September 19 was a major test for INEC, but you pulled it off, so that even the candidates of the APC came out and said, well, we won't contest the result in court. And your chairman, the INEC chairman, said, oh, this is the best election that he has seen for a while. How confident are you that Ondo State will also go smoothly, given the politics around the loss, the ruling party's loss in Edo State, and also the disclosure by the INEC chairman that the environment in Ondo State is charged? I'm sure you've been in Ondo State. How charged is that environment, and how sure are you that there will be no outbreak of violence?
Well, I just returned from Ondo State yesterday, back to Abuja. I witnessed, I was there at the stakeholders meeting, and I was also there at the signing of the peace accord. We are confident that we are not going to lower the bar in relation to the conduct of a good election in Ondo State. But as I normally say, the conduct of a good and credible election and a peaceful election is a multi-stakeholder venture. All the different stakeholders must play their own part. The police have played to be professional and ethical and follow the rules of the game in terms of their conduct and in terms of their deployment. We have also said that we are going to prepare and prepare well, and we have prepared and we are going to deploy strategically and do our own part in terms of organizing, undertaking, and supervising election. The political parties must also play by the rules of the game and rein in their supporters and prevent them from doing anything that will jeopardize the good conduct of the election. So we continue to appeal to them. But in terms of security architecture for the election, I think that the security agencies have assured us that they have it under control. The Marine Police are going to be deployed to the riverine areas. The Nigerian Navy are going to provide their platforms for the protection of our staff and our materials in the high seas. And we are confident that the over 270 polling units we have in the riverine areas will have full complement of materials and personnel for the conduct of a good election. So the police are going to be, and the security agencies are going to be engaged in show of force, and then they are going to also engage in clearance operations to make sure that nothing untoward happens in relation to the election. And the people must have the confidence that they can come out and vote without anything unwholesome happening to them. So we are confident that despite all the few challenges we have in terms of violence and in terms of anxiety, that we are going to have a good election.
All right, I want to talk about electoral offenders. What would you be doing to prosecute them? And also, I want to talk about voter fraud and vote buying. Those are two very specific things. What measures do you have in place to avert that? We saw a lot of that in the Edo elections. And I'm not sure, to my knowledge, we saw any prosecutions by INEC. What are you going to do as regards that?
Well, in terms of the prosecution of electoral offenders, the chairman of the commission has made it very, very clear that we are burdened with the question of organizing, undertaking, and supervising elections, and that we really do not have the capacity to, in the real sense of the word, prosecute electoral offenders. So we have advocated that particular job should be taken away from the commission and given to an electoral offences commission and tribunal that will be charged with the sole responsibility of arresting offenders, investigating offenders, and also prosecuting electoral offenders, and also setting up maybe a mobile court on election day, so that some minor offenses that are committed either at the precincts of the polling units or within the electoral environment on election day can be dealt with expeditiously. But what you have now is a situation where police officers and other security agencies are drawn from the contiguous states to Edo State. The moment they finish, they carry out arrest, and then they go back to their base when it is time to prosecute the offenders, those who carry that arrest and carry that investigation are very, very far off. And then the cases will be struck off from the struck out on the basis of lack of a diligent prosecution. So we need an Electoral Offenses Commission and Tribunal quickly to deal with some of these particular issues. Now, on the issue of vote buying, you know, this whole issue of vote buying is a commercial venture. There must be a willing buyer and a willing seller. But as an electoral management body, we have incorporated the EFCC and the ICPC into our interagency consultative committee on election security. So on election day, some of these officers will be in plainclothes and they will be at the various polling units to make sure that nobody violates the sanctity of the polling units. But as a commission, we have also recalibrated our polling units to guarantee more secrecy, and we are also insisting that no voter must go into the voting compartment with a smartphone or with a camera that may likely show how the person has voted. But I think that with more enlightenment and more sensitization, the issue of vote buying will be degraded.
Well, Dr. Okoye, let's bring this to an end with a clarification. We've been reading reports that some candidates have endorsed some other candidate. What actually is the situation? Is it possible for a candidate of any political party to withdraw after INEC has already printed ballot papers, and is INEC involved in this regard in any form?
No candidate can withdraw. All the candidates that have been duly nominated and their lists have been published must contest this election. So whether they endorse anybody or they don't endorse anybody, on that day, they must get votes. So if a candidate gets 0 votes, or if a political party gets 0 votes, we will record that that particular political party has a 0 vote. But you see, all the political parties must know that in accordance with Section 225A of the Constitution, they must satisfy a certain threshold to remain as political parties. And the issue of the registration of political parties is a continuous exercise, and the Commission will continue to apply to the best of its ability the provisions of the Constitution without fear of favor.
Right.
Well, thank you very much, Dr. Festus Okoye. We wish INEC all the best on Saturday as you conduct the gubernatorial election in Ondo State. Thank you very much indeed.